of plans for an actual TV series.
Oh my goodness.
Well, listen,
Yep.
let him talk first.
Yeah, let me talk. This is my show. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No, I'll tell you what though. Here, maybe if I take care of you now, maybe you could put me in your TV show.
That's what I was going to tell you.
Great. Oh, good. Yeah. See, I came to Dallas and I'm getting a job from this hotshot young producer.
We want to keep you.
Yes, sir.
And I plan to be a voice actor too, because in this TV show, I'm voicing an antagonistic character
Oh.
who sounds like Tim Curry.
And with whom I've worked on many occasions. And are you also voicing a protagonistic character as well?
Well,
I mean, you have an antagonistic character. You probably should have a protagonist.
actually, I'm going to prefer doing villains because villains can do whatever they want.
That's right.
They don't have to obey the law.
Exactly.
That shows my carefree nature.
Good. I love this guy. My carefree nature. My nature is just being a whack job. Hi.
Hi.
Another pretty lady. Boy, I love this gig. Come on in. What's your name?
Robin.
Hi, Robin. I'm Rob.
Hi,
And I was called Robin until I was about 12.
Wow.
My mother used to call me Robin because my dad's name is Robert Paulsen and my grandfather was Robert Paulsen, so they wanted to distinguish me. Or maybe extinguish me. I don't know. But nonetheless, what we're doing now is you're coming at the right time because you've gotten through all the gnarly stuff about thank you for being here. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I got here because that really is the one question I get asked more than anything. Do you know the words to Yakko's World? And I do. And that will come up. Look at you laughing.
Are you tired of that by now?
It will come out. It can't help itself. It's just organic. It just pops out. Like that scene in Alien.
Right. So but the other question I get is, please tell me how you. Okay. So, long ago, in a town far, far away called Detroit, Michigan, home of the Red Wings.
Yay.
That's right. Good for you, my friend. Now, I was born in Detroit many, many moons ago. And people don't know this, but I, in fact, was the entertainment at the Last Supper. That's how old I am. In those days, I went by Shecky of Arimathea. Walk into this room and I say, Jesus, what a party. So, I was born in Detroit and raised primarily around the Flint, Michigan area, which is now Detroit and Flint, the two cities from which I hail, have the dubious distinction of being on the FBI's 5 most dangerous cities. Oh my God!
Dallas is pretty close too, as well, actually.
So I grew up around the Flint area, and I wanted to be a hockey player because of my desperate love for the Detroit Red Wings, and I grew up playing hockey as a kid, and I really, really, really wanted to be a professional hockey player. Well, at about age 17 or 18, there was a big, strong kid from Winnipeg, Manitoba, who hit me so hard, drilled me, that I thought, okay, that's it. I'm done. I know how good I'm not. And this kid is way better than I, and I got no business making any money at a professional sport, unless I want to be a dentist and fix my own teeth. So my second desperate passion when I was a kid was performing. Probably like a lot of you guys, whether it's drawing your art, creating your own show, doing voice work. I know many of you are voice artists, singers. I primarily was a singer. My mom and dad were both involved in local theater, and my siblings, I have a brother and 2 sisters, they were all involved in the same thing. So there really is no point in talking about, me being from 0 to 17 or 18, because that was all just typical stuff, bad acne and getting dumped by the pretty girl and all that stuff.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, it'll be in the book. But so when I realized that hockey for me was going to be an avocation, that I would enjoy it for its own sake, like golf, I was not going to make any money at it. So it was a really good lesson, and I don't know who this kid in Manitoba was, but I have to thank him. It took me a while to get my bearings, but I'm better off for it. So I decided that my other desperate passion, and again, thanks to my parents, was performing. Now, my parents were very clear. They were like, look, you can listen to all the Led Zeppelin and The Who and Jethro Tull and Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Beatles and all that stuff that you want to, but you also have to listen to Prokofiev and Rachmaninoff and Shostakovich and Mahler and Debussy and Mendelssohn. And
why not? Those are good.
They are good. And quite often, though, kids become at odds with their folks about that stuff. So I really have my parents to thank both for being encouraging to me and my siblings, but also I have a desperate love of music in general. So I learned to read music at a pretty young age and was involved, like a lot of the younger folks here, in college. I was involved in musical theater. Not so much the theater part, the music. I did a lot of singing. And whether it was like in a madrigal setting or chorus setting or a big choral setting, I learned to really love music and love to perform. And then I was in a couple of rock and roll bands that were really great fun. It didn't take me long to understand that didn't really matter whether you were a good singer or not, but if your jeans were tight enough and your hair was long enough, chicks digged it, And I thought, wow, this is great. We suck. I mean, we really suck out loud. And these girls are coming after me, man. They wouldn't come after me when I was playing hockey and had a black eye, and it didn't work for me to go say, oh, I got this broken nose. They're saying, well, you shouldn't play hockey. You're an idiot. But instead, I could be a lousy rock singer, and they would say, hey, Rob, hi. Well, you wouldn't talk to me 5 minutes ago. So that didn't take very long to figure out. I ultimately, after high school, went to the University of Michigan for a year. I'm the oldest in my family, and I remember clearly the day that I came home and told my parents, I said, no offense, Mom and Dad, but I'm wasting your money and my time. And of course, you can imagine, those of you that have children or grandchildren, you can imagine if you come home and you say, I've decided not to go to college. They say, what? What? Probably even louder. And I said, yeah, I get, that it's very important and all that, but I really, really, really want to be in the moving picture business. I want to perform. And of course,
you ventriloquist.
You can hear them saying, we've created a monster. I said, well, now it's like, well, God, if you want to do that, but can't you go get a degree in theater? Do something where you stay in school. Well, they made it very clear. They said, if you're going to do this, you're old enough, but you do understand that the money that's been following you to college doesn't follow you to California or New York or hell, wherever it is that you end up.
Same difference.
And I said, well, okay, great, but I was 19, so I joined a theater company. A friend of mine in high school, dear friend Chuck Neighbors, whom I keep in contact with on Facebook, told me about this theater group. I didn't know anything about it, never been on a plane further west. Oh, never been on a big plane, and I'd never been further west than Iowa, okay? So I get on my first plane flight. My parents were on a sailboat with some friends in Lake Michigan. They didn't have a ship-to-shore radio. They were incommunicado. My grandparents, were talking. I was essentially babysitting for my siblings. Wrote my parents a note on the spur of the moment. It sounds so romantic now. Wrote them a note on the spur of the moment on a grocery slip. I went to California. I'll call you when I get there. I did call my grandparents and tell them, well, we don't know, Rob, if your parents are going to like that. And I said, I know, but I got to go. I got to make this decision, and I've already told my folks I'm not going to go back to school. So I went, and cut to a few days later, I get to California. My mom, I finally get a hold of my mom, and of course she was frantic. She said, and I understand that now. I've been my own child. And she said, where are you? And I said, I'm in Los Angeles. I know, but where are you? And I said, Mom, I'm in California. Oh my God. Well, what are you going to do? I said, I told you I'm going to join this theater company. And okay, everything settled down. Spent a year doing live theater. It was basically an itinerant theater company in which we would do original plays, sometimes moralistic plays. We did a lot of work at prisons and churches and stuff. Fantastic experience because you're right. It's like guerrilla theater. You're right. Every day you really don't know who your audience is going to be. It might be people like this size. It might be 500 people. But I got to do everything from, as I said, shows at schools and theaters, churches, to because we had this aspect of our repertoire that was that had it was kind of an improv issue where you could do kind of moralistic plays where you'd try to make people think. You'd enact a certain scenario, and people would have to think about it, and you discuss it. So one day we find out that we're going to be going to San Quentin Prison, right? Which is where Sirhan is. For a while, Charlie Manson was there. This is a maximum security prison in Northern California. And so I thought, my God, this is going to be wild. So we get up there, and of course, the chaplain of the prison brought us in to do our stuff. And a guy like me, a 19-year-old kid walking through a prison was like, fresh meat. It was really freaky. But what it also did was, that they use the term slammer, and you understand that when you hear you guys, there is no sound like it. Because I spent the day there talking to people. Most of the folks that we were with, not dangerous. They were like, white-collar criminals and for tax evasion and stuff. But nonetheless, it was a very wild experience. And what it did do is when I left, I said, I'm never going to get a traffic ticket. I am going to be the straightest and narrowest kid in the world. Plus, it was an incredible experience just to be there and do that. And the reason I cite that is because all of these issues came into play with respect to my decision to, become a performer for a living. I started out as a singer, and I tell people now, if you're a dancer, continue to dance. If you write and you want to create your own show, keep doing that. If you're a voice performer, do that. If you do improv, if you're a theater actress, or if you're a singer, do that. Because you really never know when the confidence that you develop as that performer will put you in good stead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because all these wacky things, and I promise you, at 19 years old, all you're going is, how the hell did I get in this prison? Or how the hell did I get here? Or how come I'm doing a play for a church in Portsmouth, New Hampshire? What happened here? Or how come I've got somebody here talking to me about trying to save me, and a guy over here who's an atheist? And it was really bizarre. And all these things may seem like they have no bearing on your ultimate decision to become an actor or an actress, but they truly do. And I'll tell you why. It's because still I'm 55 now, so I've been making a living as a performer since I've been, 19, but in LA since I was 22, okay? But still, now that I'm firmly ensconced in middle age, the decisions I make as an actor, the choices I make as an actor, the voices I've heard, not necessarily in my head as a result of not enough medication, but the things that I've collected and soaked up as a sponge throughout my whole life come to play at the most bizarre moments. And usually at a time that's a very opportune bizarre moment. Like I might be at Nickelodeon or I might be at Disney and the producer's going, I'm not that crazy about that. You got anything else? And all of a sudden I'll think, oh my God, there was this guy, and he had this really weird sound in his voice, and I stole it from him years ago, and maybe this guy has this thing, and I can throw something else in there, and all of a sudden we got something that's kind of odd, and the producer's going, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's only got 4 lines, but I like that. Okay, so now we got this guy, and you got a character, and you never know, and they'll say, 2 weeks later, say, Rob, we're going to bring you back, because they really like that little thing that you did with that guy that had that funny impediment, and his voice was cracking, and that's something I stole 25 years ago from somebody. But you just don't know when it's going to pop into your head again. I still listen to folks and steal things, and if any of you have any affectations that you don't necessarily need, I may take them for my own nefarious reasons. But all that wacky experience comes to play and sort of becomes part of your DNA as an actor. So after the year with the theater company, I went back to Michigan. My parents were lovely enough to let me come back home. And I was working at a Perkins Cake and Steakhouse, making pancakes, and I thought, wow, boy, talk about from the ridiculous to the sublime. You know? You go from doing these weird, oddball plays for prisoners and parishioners and just to go from that to flipping pancakes in Grand Blanc, Michigan, which is just south of Flint. So I thought, okay, this is, of course, then divine providence steps in. And we all have these moments, and I'll refer to them later, because they mean something to me. We all have these moments in our lives that are these sort of epiphanal moments where you say, you know what, something is compelling me to go this way. Somebody's telling me I should go that way, but it just doesn't feel right in my soul. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you go against what feels right, and you go, what? I should have listened to my gut, okay? So we all have those epiphanal moments. We all make good choices. We all make bad choices, but we're still here. We're the sum total of the things that we do. And that really is important in terms of being creative, because all those experiences come to play, as I mentioned. So here I am working in the Pancake House. One thing leads to another, and I knew a lot of musicians, having been in rock and roll bands and stuff like that before I left for California the first time. And somebody said, hey, there's this really great band out that's looking for a singer. And so I, made a couple of phone calls, and I found these guys and went and auditioned with them, and I got this gig. So I spent the next year and a half with this really great cover band in Flint called SAS. And we were fantastic. And it was a great gig because it really put me in a place where I worked 6 nights a week in clubs all around Michigan. Again, invaluable experience. I met people, in the circuit who were drinking the same drinks in the same seats. 6 months later, you make a circuit, you play in this bar for a week, then you go to that bar for a week, and you go to that bar for a week. And of course, we started building up a really big following. I was 20 years old. So to be 20 years old, and I bought my first car with rock and roll money. I mean, it was great fun, free drinks, and I'm not a drinker, but it didn't matter. I got to have free Coke Coca-Cola. I gotta make, as soon as I say I go free Coke, get it back in, Coca-Cola. But the experience again was unbelievable because I got to do 6 nights a week singing all my favorite rock and roll songs with a really great band and really great guys. And again, the experience, the experience of screwing up, the experience of blowing it, the experience of having equipment break, the experience of having drunks talk to you and get mad because you don't know their favorite song, dealing with hecklers. All of that, again, is the sum total of the experience. And all it did really was continue to build my confidence because there would be moments that I would be nervous and I think, how am I going to get through this? But then I think, okay, great, I'm going to handle this. And you do, because you're really kind of put from the frying pan into the fire. You're forced to think on your feet. So, another one of those epiphanal moments. I think the first one was when I decided to join this theater company, right, after college, my year of college. The second clear epiphanal moment in my life happened with this band. We were playing, I'd been with them for almost 2 years. I was almost 22, I think. And, pardon me, we were playing in a bar in Flint, Michigan. And we were doing really well. We were booked a year in advance, and it was a great cover band, but our original music sucked out loud.